The red carpet shone brightly, lit up by the intense Hollywood lights as Denzel Washington, etched in a perfectly cut black tuxedo, strode purposefully towards the premiere of his new movie. Flashbulbs popped all over, trying to immortalize the image of the iconic actor's charming smile. And then out of nowhere a photographer pushed forward, roughly grabbing Denzel's arm to move him into position for a better photo. The audience gasped. Denzel's shirt front went blank. What ensued stunned everyone into awe. The photographer, who believed he could manhandle one of Hollywood's most respected actors, was on the verge of learning a lesson that would leave the whole audience in shock and alter the treatment of celebrities forever. Before we get into this amazing story, comment where you're viewing from and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our latest celebrity showdowns and justice moments. Denzel Washington was not any Hollywood star. At 68, he had earned his legendary status through decades of winning performance and a reputation for professionalism. With 2 Oscars, several Golden Globes, and a career spanning more than 40 years, he was respected wherever he went. More significantly, throughout his career, Denzel had always maintained dignity and grace, very few times engaging in public showdowns or Hollywood drama. The shooter who caught him was 35-year-old Marcus Reed, whose nickname in the business was the Shot Snatcher. Reed was known for having the most inciting celebrity shots no matter what boundaries or personal space. His intrusive methods had already landed him on the blacklist at a number of Hollywood affairs, but he always seemed to find a way around that. With her big Instagram following and deals with a number of tabloids, Reed's intrusive method had all too sadly been rewarded with success and profit. That evening's premiere was for Denzel's new directorial effort, a movie that critics were already referring to as his most forceful to date. Media from across the globe had convened to witness the event with hundreds of fans dressed in red carpet barriers, just wishing to catch a glimpse of their idols. What was supposed to be a ceremonial celebration of artistic excellence was set to become something else. A few celebrities had already spoken against Reed's conduct that night. He had tread on actress Jennifer Lawrence's dress while attempting to get a picture, almost making her fall. He had bellowed off-color questions at young celebrities, attempting to elicit responses. Security had already cautioned him twice to keep his distance and respect boundaries. But Reed, in a drought for the one shot that would go viral and pad his social media followers, looked at Denzel Washington as the holy grail of the night. When Denzel strolled the red carpet, pausing every so often to sign a few autographs for fans and field reporters' questions, Reed bullied his way through the photographer's line, shattering protocol. The other shooters grumbled in irritation as he pushed past them, shoving equipment out of the way. "This guy's going to get us all kicked out," one seasoned photographer leaned over to another and whispered. They could not have suspected how true those words would prove to be in a matter of moments. The stakes were clear. Would one of Hollywood's most esteemed actors permit himself to be disrespected before the world? Would Reed's pugnacious approach once again be rewarded with viral content? Or was this the instant where a line would be drawn? The instant Reed's hand gripped Denzel's arm, Denzel's security moved into position, but Denzel held up his other hand slightly, telling them to hold back. The crowd was motionless. Even the incessant camera clicks ceased as people watched what was happening next. "Excuse me," Denzel said, his tone cool but authoritative as he stared at Reed. "I want you to remove your hand from me immediately." Reed did not let go. Instead, he grinned insolently. "Just a shot, Denzel. Turn around. It will only take a second." The temerity left bystanders agog. A few other red carpet celebrities paused to observe, such as Tom Hanks and Meyer Street, who were just arriving themselves. Publicists and handlers looked around nervously, feeling something out of the ordinary was happening. "I said," Denzel replied, his voice falling to that familiar low pitch which had commanded attention in dozens of movies. "Take your hand off me." Reed finally dropped his hand but didn't step back. Instead, he raised his camera once more. "Come on, man. Don't be stupid. I'm just doing my job." Denzel adjusted his jacket sleeve where Reed had taken him by the arm, his face now moving from shock to contained rage. Tension hung in the air, fans filming on their phones pushed further in front of the barriers, feeling that this was not your typical red carpet moment. "Your job?" Denzel asked, the question hanging in the air like a challenge. By this time, many other photographers had dropped their cameras, uncomfortable with Reed's actions and wondering what Washington might say. Security for the event started, advancing toward them, but the crowd was so packed they couldn't get to the scene easily. Reed, realizing his moment was passing, escalated. "Yeah, my job now. Just give me the shot. You celebrities think you're so special. Without individuals such as myself, no one would ever even know who you are." Gasps could be heard from the audience. An assistant to another star grumbled under her breath. "Did he really just say that to Denzel Washington?" Someone else whispered. "He's done in this town." Denzel's wife, Plata, who had trailed slightly behind him, stepped to his side, her fingers wrapping around his arm, the same one Reed had clutched. Her touch seemed to ground Denzel, who breathed deeply. The event coordinator shoved through the crowd, obviously agitated. "Mr. Washington, I'm so sorry. We can take him away right now." "No," Denzel responded, his voice now audible enough for all of those around them to hear. "That won't be required just yet. I believe we all need to listen to what this young man has to say regarding respect and boundary." The red carpet, usually a site of snappy poses and fast-track interviews, was now a platform for showdown. Camera phones were pointed high, recording each second. Social media was already abuzz with tweets such as, "Something's going down with Denzel," and "OMG Reed just touched Denzel Washington." Reed, maybe taking Denzel's tight-lipped reaction as a sign of vulnerability, doubled down. "Look, I took pictures of everybody from Beyoncé to Brad Pitt. They all gripe, but they all crave the publicity. Just give me the shot, and we can all go on our way." The words of the photographer betrayed his basic misperception of whom he was working with. Denzel Washington was not simply any celebrity who craves publicity. He was a man who had constructed an entire career on integrity on and off the screen. Denzel turned to Reed completely, now standing in a position where all cameras could film what was going to transpire. The actor who had brought to life such mighty characters as Malcolm X and Roman J. Israel Escar was about to give one of his most iconic speeches, except this speech would not be scripted. "Tell you what," Denzel started, his tone unemotional and controlled, demanding focus without having to raise his voice. "I've worked in this industry for more than 40 years. I've walked these carpets more times than I can count." He moved closer to Reed, and Reed automatically backed up a half step, his camera dipping lower. "In all those years I've worked with photographers who acted with professionalism, who knew boundary, who treated others with dignity. And then there are individuals like you." The whole red carpet had come to a halt. Even background music that normally played seemed to have disappeared. Security officers formed a loose ring, but no one interrupted. "You placed your hands on me," Denzel went on, "not because you needed to, but because you felt entitled to. You believed your need for a photograph outweighed my right to personal space and respect." Reed's smug face began to dissipate, replaced by the growing realization that he had profoundly overestimated his situation. "I'm not speaking about myself," Denzel said, sweeping his hand toward the other celebrities on the carpet. "I saw you step on Jennifer's gown early. I saw you yell rude questions at young actors. You've been shoving and pushing other photographers who've been waiting patiently doing their jobs with respect." At the mention of it, several other photographers nodded in agreement, some even offering light applause. "Here's something you need to learn," Denzel said, his voice taking on the commanding resonance that had spoken some of cinema's most iconic lines. "A camera doesn't authorize you to touch people without permission. It doesn't permit you to disrespect others, and it certainly doesn't make you superior to anyone else here tonight." Denzel waved toward the crowd of fans standing behind the barrier. "These individuals have been waiting for hours, many of them all day, to catch a glimpse of this phenomenon. They're courteous, they remain behind the lines, they ask politely for autographs, they know limits." The fans went wild with cheers and applause at this recognition. "But you," Denzel went on, facing Reed again, "you believe that a press pass makes you special? Let me make one thing clear. It does not." Reed, looking visibly uncomfortable, tried to take back control. "I apologize if you were disrespected. But no, there is no." But after an apology, Denzel cut in, his tone unyielding. "A conditional apology isn't an apology, it's only another excuse to play dumb." At this, Reed stopped talking. not knowing what to say. The dynamics had been totally changed. The photographer, who had been so in your face just moments before, now resembled a chastised child. "I want you to turn around," Denzel directed, his finger indicating the mass of celebrities, crew members, and other photographers. "See all these professionals doing their job without grabbing people, without being rude." Reed hesitantly turned, meeting the censorious stares of his colleagues and the stars he had been abusing all night. "This isn't just about me," Denzel went on. "It's about establishing a standard. It's about proclaiming that talent, fame, art, none of it entitles anyone to desecrate another human being's dignity. And taking pictures, reporting news, covering stories, none of that entitles you to desecrate our dignity either." The audience burst into applause. Even other celebrities nodded in agreement, some lifting up their phones to take this surprise moment of accountability. "Now," Denzel said, straightening his tuxedo jacket and regaining his composure completely, "I'm going to keep on walking this carpet. I'm going to address these great fans who have been patiently waiting. I'm going to talk to these diligent reporters who know the boundaries of professionalism, and you're going to consider taking a moment to think about how you carry yourselves in areas that are not yours to dictate." Denzel made that final remark as he pointed towards security. This man could probably do with observing the remainder of the event from another perspective. Two burly security guards promptly intervened, grabbing Reed by the arm. The photographer, his face now crimson-colored and stuttering, was led from the red carpet as the people cheered Denzel's gracious reaction. But the most dramatic moment was still to follow. As Reed was taken away, Denzel called out, "And young man," Reed turned around, his face disheartened. "I forgive you," Denzel stated. "We all make mistakes. The question is whether we learn from them." The crowd was silent, shocked by this ultimate display of grace. The man who had every reason to be angry had instead ended the confrontation with forgiveness and a chance for change. It was a lesson in dignity that no one in attendance would ever forget. The repercussions of the confrontation were instantaneous and widespread. Within minutes, video clips of Denzel's reaction were going around on social media using hashtags such as "that Denzel shows respect" and "how to deal with disrespect." Going viral globally, entertainment news sites rushed to get the complete story, with many lauding Washington's calm but forceful comeback. By the time Denzel walked into the theater for the premiere, his phone was already ringing with pep talk messages from fellow stars and industry veterans. Samuel L. Jackson, who has been his friend for years, texted, "That's how it's done. Respect, brother. This is why Denzel Washington is not only a brilliant actor, but a brilliant man. Dignity does not have to be learned, but today he attempted to learn it nonetheless." For Marcus Reed, there were tangible and direct repercussions. Within a matter of hours, 3 major outlets severed ties with his press pass was withdrawn for future events, and the Photographers Association he was a member of released a statement denouncing his conduct and stating that his membership would be reviewed. But the effect went far wider than one photographer's career. The incident began a wider debate about respect, boundaries, and how to treat public figures. Morning television shows dedicated segments to considering the morality of photographing celebrities and where the limits should be set. Established professionals recounted other disturbing encounters, most confessing they had kept quiet for fear of being described as difficult. 2 days following the incident, Jennifer Lawrence and Tom Hanks spearheaded a list of A-list celebrities with an open letter calling for new red carpet event guidelines, particularly on physical contact and personal space. The letter explicitly referenced the Denzel Washington incident as a wake-up call, commenting, "What Mr. Washington illustrated wasn't merely self-respect, but respect for our whole profession and industry." Perhaps most unexpectedly, Marcus Reed himself had participated in the discussion. Following a day of silence, he made a lengthy post on his Instagram page which started, "I've spent the last 24 hours thinking about my conduct and the very public lesson I learned from someone I've always looked up to. My conduct was indefensible." The post continued to explain how Reed had become used to bending rules in order to succeed in a competitive environment and forgot the fundamental human respect that should form the basis of all contact. "Washington had a right to have me fired, to be furious, to cut my career short with a sentence, Reed said. Instead, he decided to teach me. He decided to let me learn from this error. I don't deserve that forgiveness, but I'm thankful for it, and I'm committed to living up to it by altering the way I go about my work. The post, which everyone anticipated would be apologetic or excuse-ridden, was an honest expression of remorse and self-reflection. Reed stated that he would be giving himself time away from photographing on the red carpet to re-examine his method of going about his work. 1 week after the event, Denzel touched on it briefly while making a planned appearance on a late-night television show. When the host mentioned it, Denzel smiled contemplatively before answering, "You know, I didn't attend that premiere wanting to make a point or teach someone something," he replied, "but there are moments in life when you have to stand up not just for yourself, but for a principle. Respect is not negotiable. Dignity is not negotiable, and at times the strongest thing you can do when someone has crossed a line is to remain calm. Clearly indicate them where the line is." The crowd went wild with applause, and the clip quickly became another viral moment off the accident. Cultural observers commented on how unusual it was to witness such an obvious moral message unfold in real time, particularly in the frequently superficial sphere of celebrity gossip. Perhaps the most enduring effect was from the younger generation of stars who witnessed the altercation. One young actor who had been waiting around during the encounter later shared with a podcast, "Watching Denzel in that moment was like a masterclass in how to handle disrespect with dignity. He did not escalate. He did not insult the dude. He simply firmly set boundaries while providing a lesson in respect for everyone involved. That's the type of career longevity and personal integrity that I strive for." The industry of photography itself started in-house discussions regarding ethical standards. Some large agents established enforced training sessions centered around respectful engagement, especially during high-profile events. The shift wasn't widespread or instantaneous, but it was possible to observe a change in the climate at red carpet events in the subsequent months. The experience turned out to be a minor but meaningful page in Denzel Washington's history, not due to the confrontation itself, but due to the way he addressed it. In an arena frequently criticized as being ego and entitlement-driven, he had proved that real star power does not come from insisting it's special, but from earning respect through principle and dignity. The Denzel Washington the photographer's tale then came to be more than a viral moment or Hollywood rumor. It came to be a touchstone, a case study in asserting boundaries, in telling the truth about bad behavior without losing oneself. In the classroom, in company training sessions, and in everyday talk, individuals started using the term pulling a Denzel to express standing up for oneself with grace and dignity. As for the premiere, nearly forgotten in the wake of the encounter, Denzel's film was given a standing ovation and went on to critical acclaim. A few critics were unable to resist commenting on the similarity between the positive upstanding character he and the man himself who had shown those very same on the red carpet. Ultimately, what might have been a mere awkward moment, angry outburst had become something so much richer, a lesson in respect that echoed way beyond the glamour and hype of a Hollywood premiere. The real test of a person, after all, isn't in how they behave when the whole world is watching and applauding them. It's evidenced in the way they react when disrespected or challenged. By that standard, Denzel Washington had just reaffirmed why he's not only a legend, but a man of legendary character. Thanks for checking out this amazing tale of respect and dignity show. If you liked this video and would like to see more about celebrities standing up for what is right, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you never miss our latest upload. And let us know in the comments, what did you think of the way Denzel responded to this? Would you have answered differently?